Well, two congressional Democrats, one veteran, the other a newcomer, causing headaches for the old guard, at odds tonight over climate change and the Green New Deal. Correspondent Doug McElway has more.
Some scientists have said that we have 12 years to turn this around.
Well, it's not going to get turned around in 10 years.
There used to be an unwritten rule in journalism that you did not interview children because they say what adults tell them to say. For her remarks, Feinstein got an earful from Congress's upstart socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
It's not just, I've been doing this for 30 years, so we need to listen to them. Because, frankly, people have been failing at the same things for 30 or 40 years.
While making chili on Instagram, the Congresswoman also reiterated the urgency for a Green New Deal. Without it,
we're screwed. Just walk outside in winter in a lot of places, and it's either way worse than you're used to or way warmer than you're used to.
That last comment is what scientists call an unfalsifiable hypothesis.
In other words, whatever happens is consistent with my hypothesis. Well, in science, that means nothing.
Ocasio-Cortez also posed this zinger of a question.
Is it okay to still have children?
Critics noted it is children who will bear the taxes to pay for her Green New Deal. Today, scores of future taxpayers held a sit-in at the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's office. It's part of a global youth movement for urgent climate change action. A 16-year-old Swede is leading tens of thousands of youth to strike from schools across Europe for climate change.
We kids shouldn't have to do this. I wish that the adults would take their responsibility and do this instead.
After meeting with her, EU leaders pledged hundreds of billions of dollars for climate change.
Key activists in the climate community have targeted children. They're terrifying kids that unless we change our ways, that they're going to face a bleak future.
President Trump is moving in a different direction. He's begun appointing a committee of science advisors who view predictions of climate catastrophe with tremendous skepticism. Shannon?
All right, Doug McElway, thank you very much. Okay, so children being forced to the center of the Green New Deal debate, effective strategy or bound to backfire. Let's bring in New York City public advocate candidate Nomiki Konst and the former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee. Great to have both of you with us tonight.
Hi, Shannon and Mike.
All right, I want to play a little bit of what the Congresswoman had to say on Friday about the fact that she says, listen, everybody's coming after my Green New Deal, but they're not proposing anything. So in the meantime, here's where things stand.
And I'm like, you try. You do it.
Right.
Because you're not. Because you're not. So until you do it, I'm the boss.
That's
How
right.
about that?
Governor, she's the boss.
I love it.
I thought when people get elected, they were servants, not bosses. I'm just startled by this. But listen, I don't want her to stop talking. I want her to continue to be the voice and face of the Democratic Party, because nothing is going to be more helpful to Republicans and specifically to President Trump's reelection than continuing to have this kind of stuff going on as if it's to be taken seriously. And her comment about maybe people shouldn't have children because it would affect climate change. I mean, that's as over the top as anything I've ever heard. I'm going to say maybe liberals shouldn't reproduce, but those of us on the other side think it's okay. We'll continue to enjoy our kids and grandkids.
All right. Well, Nomiki, to that point, you know, she's talking about the threats to the environment. Has talked about 12 years left before the planet implodes. Well, there are new estimated costs on this Green New Deal, up to $93 trillion. The data says that's a cost of $600,000 per U.S. household. They said if you taxed every household in the U.S. earning over $30,000 a year at 100%, in 10 years you still couldn't pay for it. I mean, that sounds like, if those numbers are anywhere in the ballpark, I mean, that's a threat to kids' futures too.
Well, the whole concept of the Green New Deal, that's just flawed. The whole concept of the Green New Deal is that the wealthiest of the wealthiest, the 0.1%, are the ones who pay the taxes because they're the ones who are really endangering our environment. These multinational corporations who are really causing emissions to release. I mean, the developers in New York, let's just start with that. New York City, which had a hurricane just a few years ago, in which people still don't have their homes in parts of Brooklyn and parts of Queens. In New York City, the place that generates more wealth than anywhere on the planet. They still don't have homes because of a hurricane. We produce, most of our emissions comes from buildings. The real estate developers barely pay any taxes, and they're the ones who don't want to crack down and retrofit their buildings. So when you look at the big business, it's the people who don't want to pay taxes. The big business doesn't want to pay taxes.
But Nomiki, this
it's
is
not
saying
going to be on average
if you tax people who make $30,000 and up.
That's not the Green New Deal, though.
But everyone who makes $30,000 or up, you'd have to take 100% of their income for 10 years.
Green New Deal.
And you still
that
wouldn't
is
pay
the
for
Fox News version.
That's
of
not the Fox News version. This is the American Action Form. It's not ours.
Exactly. A random organization. The actual policy of the Green New Deal is to tax the elite who are really endangering the next generation.
Governor, and I am saying this does include the top tax earners. It's $30,000 and up, Governor. And still you're not going to get there.
It's totally unrealistic. It cannot be done. You can't take away every single productive piece of profit that people make. You know, the year before that Ocasio-Cortez was born, in 1989, there were people who said that if we didn't take immediate and drastic action to get rid of fossil fuels, by the year 2000, the whole world would turn into a great big, complete ball of fire. Well, guess what? We somehow got through the year 2000. Now, I'm not saying there's not a climate change, but on the other hand, I thought the whole idea that liberals believed about selection, survival of the fittest and the selection process was that we are always adapting to change. I guess that's not the case.
All right, final word to you, Nomiki, quick.
Well, the reality is that the most impoverished communities, the most marginalized communities are the first to be affected by climate change. I mean, the facts are out. This isn't about climate change, whether or not you believe it anymore. It's about survival. We are over-consuming. We're overpopulated on this planet. Our water, our fish are not healthy anymore. And that is because we are polluting, whether it's the air pollutants or the chemical pollutants. I mean, this is what's affecting the next generation.
Nomiki.
And the largest generation in history, if they have children, that is going to continue to overpopulate.
Okay, so Nomiki,
no
more kids?
I think we have to be much more responsible.
Okay,
I mean,
and
not
Governor
only do we have
says
to crack down on emissions, but we have to be more responsible.
Okay.
You know,
we got to leave it there. Governor says lots of kids.
Next generation.
You say think about it. Okay, Nomiki.
Think about it.
Governor Huckabee, great to have both of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Governor.